Hi everyone, welcome to another yoga session. Today we're gonna do a session on warm-up. So maybe just a short warm-up that you can do before you go training. And we're gonna try to go through the whole body just so that we prepare for Jiu-Jitsu, grappling, MMA, whatever you're doing. So we're gonna start pretty easy. I'm gonna step my legs out to a little bit wider than my hips, and then I'm simply just gonna take my left hand and I'm gonna touch my right foot, and then I'm gonna alternate sides. So I'm just going from side to side and starting to warm up my back a little bit, my hips a little bit. And then I'm gonna add that every time I come to one side, my arm goes all the way back, and then I'm alternating, pulling that arm back. And then seeing if I can really twist my spine. So since it's a warm-up, we're gonna do some dynamic stuff, not just be in poses for a long time, but actually move our bodies a little bit more. And then I'm gonna keep doing this, but I'm going to add that I'm going down on one leg. So I'm just going from side to side and going down. If my heel can stay on the mat, I try to keep my heel as close to the mat as possible. Not always easy, my heel comes off a little bit. And then I'm seeing if I can add the arm out to the side. And then when I'm ready, I'm going to stay on one side, and I'm just dropping my hip and my knee and seeing how much I can drop my heel so that I'm actually on my entire foot. If that's too much, I just stay on top of my toes and I lean into that hip. And then from here, I'm just going to turn my toes. So now I have my toes into the mat, but I'm gonna turn so that I have my heel into my mat. But I'm really doing the exact same thing. Oh my God, I have so dirty feet. My entire mat is just full of sand. And then I'm still leaning my upper body or my front body forwards. I'm just dropping into that hip. And then when I'm ready, I'm gonna switch sides. So first, I try and stay on my heel. My toes are pointing downwards or to the front of the mat. Dropping into that hip. Feeling like I'm gonna warm up. And then when I'm ready, I'm simply just shifting my weight so that my heel comes into the mat, and still seeing if I can drop that leg down into the mat. If I want more, I can also roll my shoulder blades back a little bit. And just seeing if I can straighten my back. That's very good. And now, very simply, I'm going to put the knee that I have my weight on into the ground. And then I'm just shifting a little bit. So I'm shifting on the side of my mat. So I come in with one leg up and one to the back. And then from here, I'm just going to, again, do some dynamic work. So I'm gonna lean into that front hip, and then I'm gonna lean back, rolling over my heel, stretching my hamstring. And then again, I'm leaning forward and coming back. I'm just doing this a few times to warm up the inside of my hip. And at the same time, I'm also slightly stretching my hamstring a bit. And then from here, when I'm leaning back, I'm just gonna see if I can slightly roll my shoulder blades back, and then seeing if I can straighten my spine by looking upwards. And you're gonna feel that that takes even more, that takes even more of a stretch on your hamstring. But really seeing if I can straighten my back, looking forward. And then from here, I'm just gonna pull my heel back so that I'm both legs, and then I'm just gonna switch legs. So I'm up again, and then from here, I'm leaning into that front hip, and then I'm pushing back into the hamstring. And I'm gonna keep doing this movement. And every time I move forward, I'm gonna see if I can drop a little bit lower into that hip. And when I come back again on the next time, I'm just going to see if I can roll my shoulder blades back, and then I'm pushing my chest upwards, looking forward, straightening my back, seeing if I can then come a little bit more into that hamstring. And I'm gonna breathe. And then when I'm ready, I'm just gonna lean my weight forward into that front foot again. I'm gonna put both of my hands onto the mat, and then I'm just pulling that back leg forward and sitting down into a squat. So here when I'm squatting, I wanna see if I can push my knees out. So I'm pushing them out towards the side, and then again, seeing if I can roll my shoulder blades back, looking forward. Maybe I wanna alternate a little bit. Just shift my weight a little bit. I'm gonna move just so you guys can see me on the camera, but I'm staying in my squat, and then I'm alternating a little bit from side to side. And since this is a warm-up, we have to get a little bit more warm. So I'm going to take my fingertips and I'm gonna hold my big toes, seeing if I can put my elbows on the inside of my knees, holding my toes. And then from here, I'm just gonna stretch my legs, and I'm gonna come back down again into a squat. And I'm coming up and coming back down again. So we're gonna do this a few times. Coming down, up, really coming down into that squat, and then opening up again. And we're gonna do maybe 3 or 4 more. Coming down, 1, 2, and this always burns a little bit, 3, and 4, and I'm gonna stay on the top. And I'm just gonna lean my weight forward. I'm gonna lean them into my toes. So I'm just slightly shifting my weight forward. And if it's too unstable, I can also put my hands forward or my fingertips. And then from here, this is almost like a baby downward facing dog. So I'm just shifting my weight back and forward a bit, putting that weight into my heels. Maybe I slightly want to walk, with my legs a little bit. And then from here, I'm gonna stay in this position, but I'm just going to move my legs a little bit further out so that I have a pretty wide stance between my legs. And then from here, one of my favorite exercises, I have a wide-legged stance and I just wrap my hands around my back and then slowly leaning first, my head down, my hands come after. And then from here, I try and do, like, draw the number 8 with my hands. So almost like I'm going in circles from side to side, warming up my arms, and warming up my shoulders and my elbows. And then when I'm ready, my elbows come back down again. I put my hands into my hips. And then on my in-breath, I'm gonna come up. And then I'm slowly putting my feet back together again. Now wherever you are, if you're facing the same way as I am, or if you're facing to the front of your mat, I want you to step so that you're equal to me. You're on the all the way front of your mat, facing forward. And then I have about hip width on my legs, so I'm not too wide stance. And then on my in-breath, I'm gonna take a big breath in, reaching all the way to the top. And then I'm gonna do a slight back bend. So I'm bending my arms a little bit backwards. And then I'm gonna lean over, coming all the way down to my feet. And then from here, I'm gonna take another in-breath. I'm gonna place my hands on my shins or on my knees. I'm just pushing my front body up so that again, I'm trying to straighten my spine, rolling my shoulders back, seeing if my arms can be completely straight, and then taking a breath. And then on my next out breath, I'm gonna place both of my hands into the mat. So my hands are in the mat, and then I'm gonna take a big step back, sending both of my feet into a plank position. So I'm in my plank, and just for a slight warm up until we get all the way down onto the ground, I'm gonna take my right knee, and first I'm just gonna pull it up and pull it close to my elbow. Pulling it close to my elbow, and I'm putting it all the way back down again. I'm gonna do it again, but I'm gonna do my opposite elbow. So I'm pulling it into my opposite elbow and coming all the way down again. Just gonna do the opposite foot. So I'm taking my left leg, pulling it all the way up to my elbow, coming back again. And then when I'm ready, I'm taking my opposite. So I'm taking my left knee to my opposite elbow and coming back down again. Very nice. From here, I can either stay in a plank or I can put my knees into the mat. And then I'm slowly gonna lower myself down all the way into the mat. I'm gonna take a breath. And then I have my arms placed right next to my chest. So on an in-breath, I'm gonna push and push myself all the way up into an upward facing dog. If this is too much on your lower back, some people really don't enjoy having so much pressure on the lower back. I can always just move my hands a little bit forward, which makes it a lot less intense. So the closer I come with my hands, the more I really get into that back bend. Last thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drop my neck back as well, looking all the way up to the sky. And I'm breathing. Good, and then when I'm ready, coming all the way up to my knees. From here, we're going to just do a few cat-cows. So on my in-breath, I'm going to sway my back and looking up. And on my out-breath, I'm going to round my back and push through my shoulder blades. And again, rolling. And on my out-breath, pushing away. And then I'm going to keep doing this in my own tempo. And I want to add some extra movement. So when I'm swaying my back, maybe I want to lean a bit forward, maybe I want to come a little bit back. And then when I'm rolling, pushing through my shoulder blades, maybe I want to come all the way back into a child's pose. So I just want to create some movement with my body and with my spine. And if you find any place that you want to stay for longer, spend some time there. Feel if there's a stretch that you really need. And then when we're ready, we're just going to take our legs a little bit wider. And then I'm going to send my butt back onto my heels, coming all the way down into a child's pose. Resting here for a few breaths. And then when I'm ready, last thing we're going to do, I'm just going to push myself up again to all fours, putting my hands into the mat, and then rolling over my toes so that I push myself up into a downward facing dog. Now from here, I want to put my left leg in the middle of the mat so that I have my weight on my left leg and my right leg comes off. From here, I just want to bend my heel into my butt and I want to send my knee up towards the sky. Just getting a stretch both in that hip and in the side body. So I'm seeing if my heel can touch my butt. My knee comes all the way up to the roof. And I breathe. And then when I'm ready, I'm going to switch feet. So coming down with my right leg, putting it in the middle. My left leg lifts off, bends, seeing if I can really stretch and push that knee up towards the sky. Breathing, see if I can have equal weight in my hands. And it's such gorgeous weather here. The sun is shining. We have a little bit of wind, it's perfect. And then I'm coming back down again. And then I'm slowly just walking very slow with my legs up towards my hands. So every time I walk, I feel a little bit of a stretch in the backside of my hamstrings. And then I'm seeing how close can I get walking to my hands. At some point I have to start bending my knees, shifting my weight into my hands, as close as I can. And then I'm just resting, leaning over. Hanging a little bit over my legs. And then when I'm ready, rolling up again, slowly, and rolling my shoulder blades back, coming all the way up. That was it for today's warm-up. I hope you're warm, maybe as warm as I am in this insane sun. Glad you're here, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!